We cannot be the grass this time. This is a mantra that Africa must chant in the face of escalating war between Israel and Iran. A storm is brewing, it's gathering, the winds are blowing fiercely from the Middle East, threatening to draw all into its vortex. But history, an often cruel teacher, has taught us that when elephants fight, it is the grass that suffers. For too long, Africa has been the grass, trampled and torn by conflicts not of its making. We cannot be the grass this time. We cannot. In the coming weeks and months, the world will once again be carved into rigid dichotomies. The battle lines are already being drawn, with powerful nations aligning themselves with either Tehran or Tel Aviv. The age-old demand will be made of Africa. Are you with us or against us? This was the simplistic yet menacing ultimatum famously articulated by George W. Bush.
Every nation in every region now has a decision to make. Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists. Either you're with us, either you love freedom and with nations which embrace freedom, or you're with the enemy.
A sentiment that has echoed through the halls of Western foreign policy for generations. It is a demand that strips nations of their sovereignty, their right to independent thought, and their ability to prioritize their own people. If we succumb, we choose a side in a war that is not ours. If we do so, we will have offered ourselves up as the sacrificial lambs yet again. We cannot be the grass this time. We cannot. The ghosts of our past whisper caution. In the early 20th century, hundreds of thousands of African soldiers were conscripted to fight and die in the trenches of Europe during the First World War. They were pulled from their homes to fight for empires that had colonized them in lands whose names they could not pronounce or didn't care to do so for a cause they didn't understand. The Second World War saw a repeat of this tragic exploitation. Our fathers and grandfathers shed their blood for the freedom of others, while their own remained in bondage back at home. Among them was my great uncle, a brother to my great grandfather. To date, we have no idea when and where he died or where he was buried. We just know that he died in Europe, fighting a war that wasn't his, for masters who thought that he was inferior because his skin color was different. The toll was immense, not just in the lives lost, but the disruption to our societies and economies, a price for which we were never truly compensated. We were the grass back then. Then came the Cold War, a sinister chess game played out on African soil. The ideological battle between the United States and the Soviet Union turned our newly independent nations into proxy battlegrounds. Leaders who dared to dream of a self-determined Africa, who envisioned a future free from the shackles of both the East and the West, were cut down. Oh, Patrice Lumumba of the Congo, a beacon of Pan-Africanism, he was assassinated because he was perceived as leaning towards the Soviets. In Angola, a devastating civil war raged for decades, fueled by American support for rebels, fighting a government seen as a Soviet client. From the Horn of Africa to the southern tip of the continent, virtually every nation shivers in the chilling winds of a Cold War that was fundamentally not our own. We were the grass back then. We cannot be the grass this time. Today, as the drums of war beat in the Middle East, the echoes of this painful history are deafening. They are deafening. They are deafening. We must listen to the cautionary tales of history. We must listen to the caution of history and be our own person. Stand our ground. We must stand our ground this time because we cannot afford to be the grass this time. We cannot. We must collectively resist the immense pressure that will be brought to bear upon us. For while the world's attention is fixated on Iran and Israel, our house is ablaze here in Africa. Look at Sudan, a catastrophic war that was created, that is fueled, and the global powers in this world is raging on. We must focus on that. Sudan is not a distant conflict. It is a wound on the conscience of our continent. Look at the Democratic Republic of Congo, particularly in the east. The violence that continues unabated. The M23 rebellion, widely believed to be a proxy of eternal forces, and it is, has wreaked unspeakable havoc on that part of the country. We cannot take our mind. We must remain focused on that. That is a war on our people for our resources. We must remain focused on that. Look at the Sahel, a toxic brew of climate change, poverty, and extremism fueled by external forces has become a cauldron that is killing our people. Millions have been displaced. The fabric is torn apart. This war in the Sahel, this conflict in the Sahel is ours to fight and win. We cannot be the grass this time. We cannot. We just can't. To divert our priceless attention and resources to a conflict thousands of miles away would be a betrayal of our own people. It would be an abdication of our responsibility to the children of Sudan who starve, to the women of Congo who suffer, and to the families of the Sahel and across Africa, those that are fleeing, being displaced. We cannot be the grass this time. We must be the elephant. An elephant that is steadfast and sure-footed. An elephant that, for the most part, minds its own business, focusing on the well-being of its own herd. And when this elephant must engage with the quarrels of others, it does so on its own terms, dictated by its own interests and its own values. It does not allow itself to to be pulled all the time into the fray as a pawn. It commands respect not through aggression, but through its sheer presence and unwavering focus on its own path. This is not a call for isolationism. It is a call for a radically reordered Africa, where our priorities are for our own people, our own interests. Africa has long been denied this. This is a declaration of our intent to finally and fully take our destiny into our own hands. Let the powers that be demand our allegiance. Let them dangle their carrots and brandish their sticks. Our answer must be clear and unwavering. Our focus is Africa, not you. Our priority is our people. Our wars are the ones that are being waged on the African soil. We cannot be the grass this time. This time, we are going to stand in solidarity with the oppressed in the Middle East, but we are not going to be drawn into that war. We are not going to shift our collective consciousness and attention to that region and to that war, because we must remain focused on building Africa, transforming Africa, and we will do just that. We are nobody's puppet, we are nobody's pawn. We are the elephant, the African elephant, and we're unbeatable. This time round, we are not going to be the grass.